Hi, my name is Amanda, and welcome to the self-audit. I speak a lot about this to a lot of people and on a lot of different platforms. And so I wanted to do kind of a full-length video today on what this is, how to do it, why you should do it, and just everything that goes along with that. So that being said, thank you for joining us. And let's get into the self-audit. Okay, so a lot of people, by the way, I have my little notes down here. So if you see me glance down, that's totally what I'm doing. But a lot of people in life, they aren't happy with one facet or one thing or another. So maybe they're not happy with where they're at in their life, or they're not happy with um, I don't know, their finances or whatever, and they don't know what to do or how to do to fix it. And so they just kind of stay stuck in this rut of I'm unhappy, but I don't know what to do about it. And so that's where the self-audit came in. So this was something that I would do every year, kind of as the beginning of the year set in, like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? Um, I even go so far at the beginning of the year, like to pick a word for the year, and I'll go into a different video totally on like what you want your year to be. Um, but I would do this at the beginning of each year, and then I would do smaller versions of it for each quarter for the year, and then even go so far as to doing it for weekly, like small versions, just to kind of see where I'm at that week. Have I succeeded at what I wanted to do? Have I kind of pulled away from what my goals and my accomplishments were supposed to be? Just what do I want to do and where do I want to go from here? And so that's how I chose to make progress. And so I wanted to share these things with you and how I do it, what I do. And then at the end of this, there will be a link, and it'll also be like in the description and everything, for you to go in and download a PDF version of um, like a written part to this so that you can actually write it down, do it the same way I do it, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about in just okay. So first of all, I'm drinking a CEO coffee, which is something that we make, and then I've got some fire department espresso roast instant coffee in here. I was trying to think of the whole name, and then a splash of coconut creamer and milk. Definitely perfect pick me up for the afternoon. Okay, so back to self-auditing. So you can't fix what you won't face, right? And if you don't look at this and do this very realistically and understand that what you're not facing, you're not going to fix, it's not going to work. So you have to be very, very realistic with yourself. And you have to understand that everything that you write down, you have to like look at it very realistically. So, if you're saying, if you're going to start with the financial part of this and you're going to say how, okay, I'm low on finances, but as you are writing things down, you're like cheating and leaving out stuff, or saying, oh, I didn't spend this much at using DoorDash for the week or whatever, you're not going to actually fix what you're not willing to accept. So you have to be very realistic and very tough love with yourself in order to do this. But it's well worth it in the end. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down everything into the pillars of your life. So everything's going to get a score, a reality check, and then the decision. Are we going to keep it? Are we going to improve it? Or are we going to nix it? And it's as simple as it is. So faith and purpose is your first one. Is your faith on autopilot or is it active? Are you living what you believe are you just saying the right words? And this is something that you're going to have to really look at, because too many times we see our faith or our purpose and we're like, yeah, we're living it. We're doing all the things that we say we're going to do, right? But we're not really. We're simply saying the words. So the next one, family and relationships. Are you showing up as a spouse, as a friend, as a parent, as a leader? Are you just being present, or are you available? Are you able to hold space for those people who need it? And if that's the case, your family and your relationships are so, so important. So with doing that, are you actually taking the time to be present and hear them and be there for them? Or are you just there? Are you actually listening? Are you doing what you say? And so those are hard conversations to have with yourself. And it totally makes sense if the first time you do this, like breaking down in tears or like having a revelation, because you realize how separate you actually are. Number 3 is physical readiness. Your body is always like a tool. You only have one of them. You can't replace it. You can't get a new one. So you've got one body. Are you maintaining it? Are you running it into the ground? Are you actually doing the things you need to do, or are you saying you are and then just not? Um, so you've got strength, endurance, recovery, and sleep. And all of those things are super, super important to your whole body. And you can't have one and not the other ones, and you can't have some of them and not all of them. Every single one is super important, and it makes the entirety. So without the entirety, you're not going to get the results that you were trying to get. So, look at that. Are you maintaining? Mental resilience. That's stress management, mindset, and emotional control, therapy, breath work, all of those things. A new one that I've been learning about is tapping. Um, and so we can go into depth later on that one as well. But all those things, what are your tools? Are you using them? Are you saying that you're using them? Are you actually using them? Are you doing your breath work and meditation sessions and then just letting everything else take over your mind and not actually taking the time to do those sessions the way that you're supposed to? So you're going to take a really hard look at that. Nutrition and substance use is what you are putting in your body. Is it fuel? Are you stress eating? Are you emotional eating? Um, is this, is this fueling yourself, or are you just dulling your edge because you are consuming things you shouldn't be? Time and attention is number 6. So does your calendar, is it reflecting your priorities or your distractions? Are you allowing yourself to become distracted by 1,000 other things in your life and not actually prioritizing what needs to be and what should be? Um, Number 7 is work and skills. Are you learning, adapting, creating value? Are you doing what you're supposed to? Or are you just trying to stay busy? Are you just checking your box? Are you busy work? Are you those things? Or are you actually doing what you're supposed to do? Money, income, expenses, debt, savings. Are you controlling your money, or is your money controlling you? And that's going to be a huge one for so many people. Environment, is your home and workspace, is it helping you or hindering you? Are the things that you are allowing into your home, are they helping or hindering you? Community and service, are you giving back? Are you leading? Are you mentoring? Or are you just trying to skirt by? Readiness and contingency, that's medical, legal, digital, and emergency. If something hit the fan right now, are you ready, or are you just saying you're ready, or are you just pretending you're ready? Habits and systems, these are your daily autopilots. Are they saving you, or you know, are they serving the person that you actually want to be? Or are they just there? Or, are you just floating through life without any kind of plan of action for your habits and your systems? Joy, play, and recovery. Do you have fun on purpose, or are you only having fun when you're burnt out? I've been there. totally understand. And I think a lot of us have too. When we get burnt out, we have a tendency to then go do fun things or like really go all out and do something probably incredibly stupid or something we really shouldn't be doing or, something like that. But we're only doing it because we're burnt out. So are you taking the time for that joy and play and recovery? Or are you just waiting till you burn out and then you do everything and then you feel guilty and you don't do work and then, it's a never ending cycle. So that's super important to look at. Calendar up, sorry. Character and integrity. Is your private life matching your public one? There's a lot of people that's hard to really understand and accept, but if your life behind when the door gets shut and you go home, if that's different than your public one, there's usually something you need to fix. So you're going to go through each pillar. You're going to give yourself a score from 0 to 5. 0 is non-existent, like it doesn't exist. 5 is solid, documented, and consistent. It only is going to work if you're ruthless and honest with yourself. Okay, so here we're going to get into the deep dive process. So each pillar, you're going to use the same framework. It's going to be intel, and then you're going to do the assessment. You're going to do the root cause, the decision, the action, and then the after action report, also known as AAR. So let me show you what you're going to do. For each pillar, you're going to collect the facts. You're going to start with the data. You're not going to start with any kind of drama. You're not going to start with any sugarcoating. You're going to get the data and the facts. You're going to pull the receipts. You're going to check your calendar. You're going to get your bank statements out. You're going to pull your lab results. You're going to write down the real actual numbers. And those real actual numbers, if you have to print them, that's fine. If you want to do them digital, that's fine. If you want to write them down, that's fine. But you're going to actually gather the data. And from there, you're going to do the assessment. You're going to rate this. And so that's 0 to 5. 0 is non-existent. 5 is perfect, spot on. Okay. So then from there, this is going to be your gut check. Like while you're rating, that's going to be your okay. Like I'm looking at all these facts and I'm looking at this data, and this is what my assessment is showing. So then from there, you're going to look at the root cause, and then ask yourself why. You're going to ask yourself why 5 times. Once you get to the real issue, that is where you can actually start making progress. So maybe you say, I'm tired. Okay. I'm tired. I'm always tired. So my tired is relating to all these different things, right? And that's why all these things are at a 1 or a 2. But as you ask yourself, why are you tired? You start realizing that I'm tired because I lay in bed and I scroll for the next 3 hours because I'm stressed over money. So I'm trying to clear my mind by doing that. So there's your why. And then from there, you can do the next thing. But until you find that why and really understand what is happening, you're not going to actually be able to change it. So make sure that you find that root cause. So even if it takes more than 5 times, you're going to consistently keep asking yourself, why? Why am I tired? Why is this an issue? Why? The next thing is you're going to make that decision, and it's keep, improve, or kill. So everything is going to get one of those 3. We're going to keep what's working, and then we're going to improve what's worth saving, and then we're going to kill what drains you. Simple as that. Next action is going to be to pick one measurable step with a deadline. And so for each thing that we need to improve on, we're going to make one thing, one measurable step. So it needs to be very specific and to the point. And we're going to have a deadline. So, and we're going to have a realistic deadline. We're not going to say that within a year, I'm going to pay off $50,000 worth of debt when I only make $50,000 a year. It's not realistic. It's not a good deadline. That's not anything. So we're going to keep that very realistic and understandable, and everything's going to be measurable. And then at the end of each week or month, whichever one you want to do, I do both. because whenever I take the actions, there are some things that are monthly, there are some things that are weekly. So I do go over this, once a week. I do like to see where I need to improve, what I need to do, and so I kind of do it at multiple times. But then at the end of the week of the month, you're going to ask yourself, what was supposed to happen? What actually happened? Why was there such a difference? And then what can you do differently now? So how are you going to go forward now? And so that is where that's the first section of the self-audit. So our next one is going to be financial audit. Um, let's This is one of the most important ones, I think, because a lot of people's stress, time, health, everything traces back to their finances. And if your finances aren't where they need to be, that really does contribute to so many other issues. Um, so let's talk finances on the next one. So most people's stress, time, health, everything stems back to finances. And if their finances aren't concrete and they're having issues with finances, that is going to trigger all these other issues and create all these other issues. So your financial audit is extremely important. You can't lead your life well if your money's in a mess. I'm one of those people that I really do think money is the root to all evil in a lot of ways. You never know somebody until money gets involved. And a lot of people do have issues with money. But at the end of the day, money is what makes the world go round. Money is how you pay your bills. Money is all these things. So it is important to make sure your finances are in good standing. So that's the first one. You're gonna take the PDF or your own notebook or whatever. You're gonna list your total income, your fixed cost, your variable costs, your debts, and your cash buffer. Every number. You're not going to estimate. You're going to verify. You're going to get the data. It's back to the whole data thing. You're going to make sure that you have those exact numbers. It's not something that you're rounding. If you're someone who's self-employed, it's a little bit harder because sometimes you don't know exactly how much money is coming in. You do know your fixed expenses though, and most of the time you can take some of the previous months and you can look at them that way, make an average, that kind of thing, and go from there. So you're going to then kill what doesn't serve you. So how many subscriptions, excess, and waste do you have? How many times do you make excuses and decide that you're going to DoorDash something because you just aren't feeling it that day, or you know that's the big one that comes to mind right now. But you choose to do that instead. And that's something you can kill right there. How many times do you have subscriptions that you've never used, or you don't use, or you very rarely use, and aren't worth the money to keep? Those things are things you're going to kill. Compress what you do keep. Go and negotiate some of your rates on your credit cards. It's as simple as calling the bank, seeing if there's a card that you could change to that has a better rate, has better point values, has anything. There's so much you can do to actually negotiate those rates. You just have to take the time and actually do it. Cancel tier things. So um, if you have something that's like tiered and you're not using the upper tier, get rid of the upper tier because you're not using it. Set hard limits on all your spending and stick to that. So if you say that in a month you're going to spend $400 on groceries, that $400, sit down and figure out how you're going to stay at that $400 limit and really put that in. Don't say, I'm going to do $400 for the month, and then, but I really want this, and so I'm going to take some of the money out of my savings and go buy this instead. So, no, keep hard limits. Every dollar needs a job. So is it essential? Is it a buffer? Is it go towards debt? Is it an investment, or is it growth? And choose those things, and again, set hard limits. Audit your purchases. Did you buy every purchase that you actually do buy. Did this buy time and improve health, increase capabilities? Is it something that was truly needed? If it's not, it's clutter. And then write it down as such. Because the more realistic you are with yourself on how much clutter you're actually spending, um, is going to understand what you're like, where your spending is going, and then one more step to a financial freedom. Um, and then this is where you're going to create a weekly money brief for 15 minutes, same time every week. Check your accounts, look 14 days ahead, make one change that can serve. Our next pillar is going to be, or our next deep dive audit is going to be faith as the foundation. You can build everything that you want to, but if faith isn't the foundation, it's all going to crumble the second the storm hits. Hi, kitty cat. Come on. Come on. This is Callie. She's my girl. She is a rescue. I had her long before I met Tyrell when she was a kitten. Well, she was about a year old, I guess, when I got her. But she's the sweetest kitty. She hated him at first, but she sure does like him now. But anyway, back to your faith as your foundation. If a storm comes and you don't have your faith as the strongest foundation, everything's going to crumble. What is your faith? How are you supporting that? And where are you going from there? Because without faith, you have nothing. So, start every day with scripture, prayer, reflection, and obedience. It's not religion, it's a relationship. So what's your relationship and with your faith, and how are you thriving with that, and how are you building on that? Ask yourself daily, where did I live in alignment yesterday? Where did I drift? What's the next thing that God is telling me to do that I've been avoiding? Your calendar, your bank account is always going to reveal what you actually worship. If you are spending a ton of money here, there, and everywhere, and you are not doing as you should, you are going to realize that you are not worshiping God, you are worshiping things and items, for example. Um, you know, Faith also means obedience in the hard stuff. So serving when you're tired, and then that's back to, why are you not serving? Because you're tired. Well, why are you so tired? Trust when it doesn't make sense. Trust when everything's stacked against you. I've been there. I've done that. I've lived it. I still struggle with it plenty. And that's something that is important to try and do every day. But just know that faith is not, without that, everything else crumbles. And you need very strong in your faith. Create systems to help you stay in that faith. Are you praying when things are good? Are you praying when things are bad? Are you only asking for help when you're stuck? All those things. Look at yourself really, really well and decide that. Our next one is time, attention, and readiness. Are you looking? You want your life to go somewhere, right? But are you looking at where your hours are going? I want you to pull up your calendar. I want you to color code it by category. Most people will say like family comes first, right? But in reality, like meetings and scrolling come first. So you say money comes first, family comes first. But as you're sitting there working on eating dinner, I guess is a good one. Like, are you sitting there just scrolling on your phone? Because if that's the case, money, oh my gosh. Family is not coming first. Your money is coming first. Your jobs, your business, your work, your whatever, that's coming first, because you are not spending the time with your family. I can't stand going into a restaurant and seeing all these people who are there to spend time with their family and all they're doing is playing on the phone. I think it's a total waste of time. But anyway, that being said, color coded by category. Where are you spending true time with your family? Uh, Eliminate what doesn't matter, automate what you can, delegate if you can, and then standardize what's left. So, and then readiness. If the lights go out tonight, are you ready? Are your meds current? How much cash do you have on hand? Where are your important documents? I think that one's huge. Does someone know your passwords and all the accounts you have and the things that go on your computer? Do you have or do you know a way to prepare food? Do you have a way to keep your family safe, hydrated, fed, all those things? Because we don't have to do doomsday, and you don't have to have that kind of mindset. But if there's an issue, do you know how to take care of it? Do you know how to, if the power's out, do you know how to keep your family warm? We're headed into the winter season. Do you know what to do? So that's just huge. How many medications do you have on hand? Are you just waiting until it's like the day it's due and then you're going and picking it up, or a couple days late or whatever? What happens when those things can't be refilled right then? Or what happens if you can't get it refilled right then? Some medications have to be taken right then, every day at the same time. Missing one dose is bad. So, that also comes into health conditions. Do you understand all the health conditions that your family has and what to do if they do have an episode or need your help? Do you know what to do then? So, you know, that's kind of your time, your attention, and your readiness. Are you ready? Do you have the things together that you should have? Okay. And then the last thing is like actually living this. So it's not one time thing. You can't do it one time and never do it again. You have to repeat it. These are things that you have to check in with yourself daily and actively do things every single day. Then it's weekly reviews of where am I at, what I have I done, that kind of thing. Do monthly audits of this whole thing, quarterly, like really deep dive into it, and or yearly, whichever one you want to do. I prefer quarterly. I do mine by doing like daily 10-minute. I check on my money, my faith, my movement. Where am I at? What do I need to accomplish today? A weekly 1 hour review, schedule, goals, meals, budget, all that kind of stuff. And then monthly, I do like a full review, look at all the pillars. Where am I at? What do I need to do? And then quarterly, it's like a super long, like in depth, no BS, no anything. Like, where am I at? You'll start to see trends. You'll start to see where you're self-sabotage. You'll start to see where you're lying to yourself, where your priorities are, all that stuff. And that's where your growth is going to live, in understanding and relating to that and moving forward. Um, so, so the last thing is, I'll leave you with this. You're going to audit yourself because your life depends on it. Um, because if you don't do this and you want to make any progress, you're not going to without actually looking at your life and really, truly seeing what you want to go for. Um, don't wait for a crisis to fix broken issues. Don't wait until the end and be like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. No, start now, fix it, and move forward so that you don't have that crisis. Um, if you say something is important, prove it. Time, money, and your attention. Um, it, Everybody has their things that are most important to them. Realize what's important to you and make sure that that becomes a priority, and make sure that you prove it to yourself that that is a priority. I promise that clarity and peace comes when chaos is met with truth and structure. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is, start with one pillar today. If you've never done this, it could seem overwhelming. Start with one pillar today, face it, fix it, and move forward. And then from there, you can start adding more pillars and you can start controlling this more and more and more. But if you're somebody who feels like this is super overwhelming, just start with one and gradually build on that. Give yourself a deadline to get them all done, and keep going. So this has been the self-audit review of how you self-audit, what you self-audit, and just how to make things much better for yourself. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, this talk through. If there's anything that you would like to know, anything you would be interested in finding out or anything like that, put it in the comments, send me an email, send me a message on any kind of social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, of course. You can send messages on anywhere there, and then you can email as well. So all of that will be down below in the description bar. And then I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and look out for the next one of these in the series, and we'll talk about something very next time. But otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy your self-audit. If you have questions, need help, anything like that, please let me know. I hope you have a good day.